Well, I'm quite sure you have seen that before. I'm sick of looking at it. As I'm starting to film this sequence of clips for this week's video, it is Monday, March 16th. And until yesterday, some of the snow was starting to disappear here. There was still lots of snow on the roof of the two coops there, but it had gone down quite a bit. And I guess you can see the enclosed area on the red coop. All that roof was roofed over with heavy snow, and that had melted. However, yesterday we got somewhere between 25 and 30 centimeters of fresh snow. I don't know exactly what the measurement would be here. The weather office says that St. John, New Brunswick got 34 centimeters and Moncton got 44 centimeters. My point is, it's just never going to stop, evidently. We have more coming for tomorrow, practically not even enough to bother with around here. Tomorrow is between 5 and 10 centimeters, but I don't know. First day of spring is not that far away, but I think we're going to be a long while here waiting to see some bare ground to get out in the garden. Once again this year I'm using my numbering system for the plant tags, and I'll put my plant list down below, which will look like an enormous garden is about to be planted here on Campobello, I guess. I think right now there are 49 different things in the list, but that includes things that I will grow 1 or 2 plants. It also includes things that I have ordered that I won't be growing myself that are perennial. Raspberries and cauliflower, raspberries and asparagus and things like that. So really, I mean, the number is long, but it doesn't mean that I'm going to be growing a lot of each one. It is so good to see something green peeking through the soil here, though. This row here, number 46, is a kind of lettuce that I'd never heard tell of before, called Salanova, which is a registered trademark. I think normally grown, well, it says you can grow it either hydroponically or in soil, but I think perhaps grown hydroponically a lot in the commercial trade and sold as the whole head of lettuce with the roots still on it in a plastic bag type thing. Rob, the old gardener guy in Finland, did a video on it some time ago, a few weeks ago, and got me interested, so I ordered some seed. I ordered mine from Johnny's, I guess that's legible there, and what I bought is a seed mix, and I will put a link to Johnny's YouTube video on Salanova lettuce. I'll put that in the comments section below this video. It's quite an interesting type of lettuce, and I have several, I think maybe 3 different kinds in this particular thing of seed, but it came in a little vial. I don't know if you can see the seeds in there or not, the glare on the light. 25 seeds, and I think I paid $8.95 or something like that. I know it was over $10 with shipping, so they're not exactly cheap, but it grows in a very unique way that I won't bother to elaborate on. You'll watch the video, it will show you. And back here, this is White Russian kale, an heirloom variety of kale. And both of those popped up within a couple of days. And the front row here hasn't come up yet. It is the green globe basil, which I'll show you in a second. I'm just going to switch some things out here and show you a few things that I have already started here in the grow room. I decided to turn the grow lights off because once again they really distort the color of things. This is the green globe basil, which I've never grown before, and so far I'm really liking it. This is the only plant that I have. The other 3 that I'm trying to get started haven't germinated yet, but basil takes a little longer than some things do. This has not been pruned or anything. It just tends to grow in this nice compact little mound of a plant. When I've grown other types of basil, the Genovese and all that sort of thing, my problem under lights is they always bolt, and you end up having to prune them back, and, well, it's no problem. You can use the prunings, that sort of thing. But so far I like the nature of this particular variety, the way that it's growing, and it is supposed to grow into a little mound. So I will be growing mine inside the hoopos because basil likes heat, and we don't have a great deal of it here. But it's a lovely fragrance. I haven't tasted that one yet, but just brushing it, you get that wonderful fragrance of basil, so I'm quite sure it's quite a flavorful variety too. This is the cutting leaf celery, or green celery soup, depending on what you want to call it. I grew 2 or 3 very large plants of it last summer and liked it so well I'm using it instead of parsley. I use it in everything that I would have used green parsley in. I dried some, I don't think in the dehydrator, I think I just dried it, and then I put it in a grinder, like a coffee grinder, and did it up into a powder. I've been using that as a seasoning this winter, and it's got wonderful flavor. I used it on coddled eggs yesterday. So I have about 4 pots of this, I guess, which will be all that I will need. That's actually probably at least 2 seedlings in there, but they don't seem to mind growing close together like that. And this is the Sunberry. The fruit is used like you would use blueberries, either as a fresh fruit or you can make pies or preserves or whatever. I've never grown it before. It was very tiny seed, so I started it early, but it really is a fast-growing plant. I have 3 of those, 2 that are that size and 1 that's quite a bit smaller. I think what I'm probably going to do, I'll let it get a bit taller, and then I will pinch the top out and see if it won't branch out and become a bushier plant. I'll try that to 1 rather than kill all 3. This is the Cucamelon, or Meuch melon, a very small sort of a cucumber substitute, I guess. I've never grown them before. I have 2 of these. I save some extra seed in case these do get out of control before I can get them out in the hoop house. But they're both doing quite well. They're so far not wrapping around anything, but they've got a lot of those little tendrils where they're going to try to hook onto things, I guess. And this is the Achocha vine, another sort of a cucumber substitute, a South American, a Chilean, I think, plant. I had 2, lost 1, my own fault. I somehow forgot to water it. I was watering everything else, and it got too dry and died, but this one is still looking quite healthy, and it is also a vining type thing, so it's got a lot of these little tendrils, but so far I'm able to keep it under control, and it seems to have lots of room yet for more roots in that size pot. I don't know what the pot would be, a 5-inch pot, something like that, I guess. This is my Japanese maple and the marigold cuttings, which were doing quite well, and then all of a sudden I'm losing them, I think. This had started to leave out. They weren't red. That's crispy and dead and will fall off, a lot of them the same way. The leaves weren't red like the plant should be out in nature. It starts with red leaves, but I wasn't surprised. That's due to these grow lights. I've grown red lettuce under these lights before that isn't red until I get it out in the sunlight. The spectrum isn't full enough for the plant to produce its red color, I guess, or it's too full. I don't know quite how that works. But anyway, this was sealed in a plastic bag, and then I started getting damage to the magnolia leaves here. They were sort of like getting a blight or a mold or something on them. So I took it out. I've kept it watered, and I'm still keeping it watered, but doesn't look to me like this is going to make it. Some of the little buds down in here, like if you can see that one down there, they still look, quite fresh. They may possibly open, I don't know. Anyway, keeping it under lights and keeping it watered, but I guess if I'd have kept it inside the plastic bag, maybe the maple would still be going, but I was losing the magnolia. Taking it out now, I guess I've lost everything. Well, it's Thursday now, and a few more things have germinated, so I'm finishing up this video. These are my tomatoes. I'm growing 3 different varieties, all determinate varieties this year. And I've planted them all the same day. 32 and 33 is Defiant and Roma, and 45 is Monticello. Monticello, of course, was the most expensive seed, and it was what they called coated. I don't know, sort of had something pink on it. Anyway, they've been in there just as long as the other 2 varieties, and as you can see, they all germinated. Actually, some of them I had more than 1 seed in, and they all came up. I've clipped them off and just leaving one in each cell. And I dug around to find the Monticello seed, and they don't look a bit different from the day that I planted them. So whether this coating on them slows them down or they're just duds, I don't know. But I planted 3 or 4 more seed in each location to see if I can't get something to germinate. I don't think I've said earlier in the clips that I did here, this is the first time I've ever used coconut coir or coir, however you want to pronounce it. I have always used a soilless seed mix for starting seeds in, but I found this kit that had these pellets of the coconut coir, and you just wet them and it expands. So it seems to be working so far, and they are on a heat mat. I'll speak about that a little bit more in just a second with the next thing that I want to show you. These are Espelette Peppers, a Basque pepper that's grown in southern France and northern Spain in the Basque country, and I have killed a lot of them this winter. Thank you very much for sending me more seeds, Elise. Elise Joseph in Quebec sent me the original seeds, and I don't know what I was doing wrong, but I wasn't getting much by way of germination. I think I finally had one in the original bunch of seeds that germinated, and I couldn't get it to come out of the seed casing. It died before that happened. Well, these have just started to come up. There's 2 showing there clearly, and there's a third one down in here that the film's not going to, the camera's not going to pick up. It's just getting started above the soil, so I'm quite excited about that. I'm going to have some Espelette peppers to grow. And as I said, I would mention about the heat mat. What I was doing earlier, I was growing them on the same heat mat that they're on this time. And I was beginning to wonder if maybe it wasn't too hot, it was cooking the seeds. But I had this plastic dome over it for the first times that I was doing it. This time I haven't for any of this. I've left the dome off, and I think the humidity might have been too high, although why that would stop them from germinating at all, I don't know. But anyway, I'm just so pleased that I've got some, so hopefully I can get them up into a decent size and produce a few peppers this summer, at least. Hopefully that's in focus and you can see something there. This is the complete mystery. If you remember one of my videos last fall, I put a little clip in of a plant that I found growing and blooming in the gravel pit, stone quarry, whatever, the end of the road that I live on. I'm convinced that it is something that has escaped out of somebody's garden. A bird or whatever brought the seed. I don't believe it's a native wildflower, but anyway, I really like the looks of it, and it was not identified from the video. Different people made stabs at what they thought it might be, but then I would go do a Google search and look at photographs of what they were talking about, and no, it didn't compare to what I was seeing. I think that's my fault. My photograph wasn't all that great either. But there are 3. You can see this one's quite large. There's another one here and one just coming through here. There may be more come yet. The seed, or what I thought was a seed, I couldn't decide if it was a seed or a single seed or a seed pod. It was about the size of a very small pea and very hard, and I didn't want to crack it open thinking if it's a seed I'll destroy it. These 3 are all coming up very close together, and I didn't plant them that close together. There's only 5 or 6 seeds in here, so I think what I did plant was a seed pod, and 3 have made it out of that one. So anyway, I'll be glad to get them started, and I'll plant them somewhere in my garden, and maybe this year we'll identify them. Well, that finishes the clips here. I just have one more thing I want to show you. I thought I would offer you some of the green globe basil seeds if you're interested. Well, I'm finding this variety of basil to be quite interesting, at least the growing habits, and the fragrance is quite similar to the Genovese type basil, so I think it's going to be quite flavorful as well. So if you'd like to give it a try, I'll offer 10 packets of it to the first 10 people who send me a personalized message with their address requesting it, and I'll send that once again anywhere on the globe. I'll put a pinch of the seed in a small envelope in each offering.
And the seeds are quite small, so a pinch of seed will probably give you 25 or 30 seeds, and they seem to be germinating quite well, so I think you'll probably be able to get enough plants out of that. So if you're interested, just send me a personal message. Thank you very much for watching. I think that will conclude this little video.